All right. Hello, everyone. I see that people are starting to join this session, so we will start in a minute. So please be a little patient until then. And what is important is that Csongor Szántó from Continental, deep learning data engineer, will have his talk here. The talk title is Right Data at the Right Time, and tools demo. So this will be a really interesting demo. Sounds really exciting. So we wait a few minutes or even less, a few seconds, because the talk is scheduled for this time. So actually, let me introduce Csongor Szántó, who, as I said, is a deep learning data engineer and Continental, and his talk title is Right Data and the Right Time Tools Demo. Csongor, please join the stage and entertain us. Thank you very much.
Okay, hello everyone.
Hi, we can hear you, so
Okay,
the stage
right?
is yours.
Okay, so let's see. So my name is Csongor Szántó, as Barnes said. I've been working with Peter at Continental for 2 years now, or more than 2 years. I'm a data engineer and currently leading a team of 6 front-end, back-end, and database developers, developing a application which serves data managers and AI developers to handle deep learning data. So basically, it's going to be a quite short demo where I want to show you or provide you a sneak peek into a tool that we call Cider. And Cider, obviously, is a deep learning data management tool. Peter Ridzi talked about the different phases of data management for deep learning, or the development of their deep learning models. So the first phase was the pre-development phase. In the pre-development phase, we have lots of custom codes and lots of separate people working with their own scripts. So we do not put much effort into providing them robust and structured tools. In the development phase, however, it ramps up, and we have to. So we have the data managers working a lot, organizing, labeling, organizing, getting the right rec files, organizing, selecting the different companies to work with, or the teams to work with, to provide manual labels, and in this management process, they need a tool with which they can efficiently select data for labeling. They can efficiently review these labels, and when the labels come back from the label teams or label companies, they can review it. If anything goes wrong, then they can send it back and do it again and again until the data is right, so the quality is right, so it can be provided for the AI developers to train their models. So this is our well, let's say, main customer group currently. And what you see on my screen is a Cider front end that is used for reviewing labels. So on the left-hand side, you see the menu of Cider. We have 2 menu points, projects and labels spec that I'm not able to show you. We have some sensitive information there, and also we don't want to just publish everything in this tool. It's but anyway, it's quite interesting. So we have like a bunch of different label batches under review. You can just check how many feedbacks you have on these batches, what is ready for publishing, so what is ready for AI development, and you can also see what kind of labeling teams and companies you work with. And yeah, and actually you can also follow the orders. So if you have like an order of 100,000 frames to be labeled, you can just follow the state of this labeling order. when you go into these orders, actually you see these images. So what you can see here is a Continental camera. This is not the real raw image. This is actually a we call it undistorted image. On this undistorted image, we have semantic segmentation labels. So basically, these are pixel layers. And if I just drag this transparency down a bit, you see that in this image we have a road segmented. We have cars with this light blue marker. We have of course the environment, like green stuff, and of course we have like houses and the sky. So this is an example of a label that is done by either an internal team or by an external company. They actually spend quite a lot of time to put these pixel labels on these images, and we have thousands of these. So what happens is that when the data managers select these labels, frames to be labeled, they send it out to the labeling team. The results come back, and then the results are reviewed by selected people. So for instance, if you just look at the right side, let's say some of the reviewers said that this label somewhere in the back, yes, it's there, is not really a car. This is something, presumably it's a car, but it's not sure. So basically, in the first round, the labeler should not have labeled this as a car, so it must be deleted. So they send this label batch to the labeling team. Then they fix this problem. They send back another one with a new version, and then in the new version, probably it is not a car, so it can be accepted. Basically, this goes on with lots of label batches, and this is a continuous process. So if one batch is done, then it goes to production. So basically, it can be used for AI development. For AI developers, we have other features. Peter mentioned that we have a sort of Artifactory implemented in MongoDB. And the final goal is that to have like selected frames with selected labels pushed into this Artifactory. And Cider provides an interface of the data to do this selection of data sets and creation of these data sets. So in the base phase, we have lots of data, and they really would just want to create very, very big data sets. So as the new labels accepted and come back, they just create these incremental data sets with, let's say, hundreds of thousands of frames. And then they do of course, they do some splitting train and test and validation sets, and we have some evaluation stuff going on as well. But the thing is that you have to train your data on lots of data. Yeah, train your model on lots of data. And then we get to the next phase, which is the stabilization phase. So in this phase, our AI developers want to select more specific data. And this is where you can start utilizing the metadata database and the query interface itself. So let's check a use case. For instance, I don't know, we are working with a company, and then we got the feedback from the company that the model doesn't perform very good on motorbikes. Let's say motorbikes, it always works. That's good. So we're gonna select motorbike, and the company is working in Germany. So they do their own tests in Germany. We're gonna select some frames from Germany, and they can also say that, well, the detection was quite good in a sunny day and in clear sky. So the weather was good, but when it started raining, we had some problems with the detection. So our developers want to select data where it's raining. Now we go to check what kind of frames we have in the database. So we're gonna wait a little. And let's see. So we got 200 frames with the specification, so motorbike, Germany, and raining. It is definitely raining there. It was definitely raining there. And we are supposed to see some motorcycles somewhere. Yes, it's very tricky, but it is there. So, well, the next phase is start to store these labels and frames permanently. And this is the process of pushing the data into the Artifactory. Now we have a intermediate step in which we really persist the state of the data within the metadata stack. And these are called snapshots. So our users just create these snapshots to persist the actual state of the data. It means that if anytime in the future we modify the data for, like for instance, we just translate some attributes to other stuff, or we, for instance, translate some class names for some reason, they still can get the data that they persisted in that time when they created the snapshot. So of course, this is a sort of half the demo environment. We have some test snapshots, and these test snapshots have some data in that persisted in the time when it was created. But what's more important is that the users, the AI developers, actually want to create these artifacts. And this is done by selecting one or more snapshots and add them to datasets. I'm not going to do it here because this is done asynchronously. So we should wait quite a while to create these artifacts. But what happens is that the data that we have in these snapshots are pushed to this Artifactory in MongoDB. So basically, they become MongoDB documents. And from that point on, the users will be able to refer to these datasets with these IDs. And we have certain frameworks like AI training and development frameworks in which you can use these IDs. And basically, you can just train your data and look at the metadata that you have for the data set here. It also means that, well, in time, of course, you get more and more data sets, and eventually you are supposed to get a product. On that product, you will have some models running, and we store all the data with which those products or those models were trained. So you can just look back all the versions of data sets that were the models were trained on. And that's obviously important if you want to continue to develop your model, but also if anything goes wrong, you can just look back and see if the data set has something to do with the performance of your camera product or car function. And the next phase that Peter mentioned is the fine-tuning phase. Fine-tuning is again requires quite advanced algorithms that were not integrated here yet, but it is planned. But obviously, it takes currently like 6 people to maintain and develop this solution. And basically, we want to utilize their time well in a mostly efficient manner. And that's why we try to integrate features that save the most time, basically. And this is by actually helping this mass labeling and also helping the base development and the fine-tuning phase, not the fine-tuning, but the stabilization phase. But in the future, obviously, we want to integrate features for the fine-tuning phase as well. Okay. Well, thank you very much for attending well this very short demo, and also for attending Peter's session, or not session, but presentation previously. And well, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, Csongor. It was really nice to see, watch your presentation. I don't see any questions right now, but people might change their mind. If they do so, I would encourage them to go to the Continental booth under the Expo tab. I'm sure that the employees of Continental are happy to welcome there anyone. And sorry. And answer any questions which might arise. So since I still don't see any questions under the Q&A tab, thank you very much, Csongor, for this presentation. And for our audience, enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you. Bye.